Okay, I think this is going to be the last of these tDCS videos. I'm just shooting this very quickly with my phone. I had a crazy idea. I want to thank so many of you who've given me feedback on building your own tDCS circuit and how it was your first electronic project and how it worked out great. But many of you commented that you'd like to have a simpler circuit, or you'd like to have a circuit that didn't rely on plugging it into a phone or any other power supply. So I had a crazy idea today. So for those of you that are new to the idea of tDCS, it's the idea that if you were to pass between about 0.5 and 2 milliamps of current through a pair of electrodes that were attached to your skin, you could create a state of mental focus. Many people claim that it's relieved depression or given a mood boost, and it's very popular. The military apparently used it for focus in order to learn things more rapidly. I know students have written to say they used it for study, and I've gotten a big kick out of mine over several years. So it just hit me the other day that there might be a way to make one even one step more simply. And I was looking around and I thought about those little solar panels on the garden lights out in the yard. And those will produce quite easily between 100 maybe or even 200 milliamps of current, which is way too much. You would never want to attach one of these panels directly to electrodes that touched your skin or attached to you in any way, because that could definitely create a burn. 100 to 200 milliamps is way too much, even 50 milliamps. We're looking for between 0.5 and 2 milliamps. So the circuit that we had for the previous tDCS videos works spectacularly well for this, but even that becomes incredibly simplified. So I'll show you the back here. So inside of this little plastic box that I just glued to the back of the solar panel, I've got our little current limiting circuit from the previous videos. I'm going to show you how to build it with a solar cell, and it's only going to require 3 components and a couple of very quick, simple electrical connections. And then here I've got a little hole that I drilled in my plastic box, and there's a potentiometer, so you can actually adjust it across the whole therapeutic range. But we've got no batteries, we've got no indicators, no LED, there's nothing. There's 3 simple components and a garden solar cell. This happens to be a 9-volt garden solar cell, because you do need a little bit of voltage in order to get that skin penetration. And with these items, I'm going to show you right now how you can create a very functional and very fun tDCS circuit for yourself. All right, here we are in the shop. Here's our little solar panel. This puts out 9 volts. We've got our current regulator, our 2 resistors, potentiometer, and our wiring block there. And I got a little piece of a plastic case. Now you can use a whole plastic case of any size. I just happen to have this laying around. I thought it might be pretty slick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build the circuit inside of this little half of a plastic case, hopefully, and then we'll just glue it to the back of the solar panel, and we should have a permanent tDCS that will give us that wonderful effect anytime the sun shines. All right, if you can believe it, that's about going to do it. So our little current regulator here has one lead that hasn't been connected. That will go to the positive lead coming from the solar panel. And the negative lead from the solar panel will connect to one lead of the wiring block. And the 470 ohm resistor will connect to the other lead on the wiring block, and then we're done. The final lead here on the potentiometer that's sticking out the bottom, that is unused. You can trim it, or you can just leave it as it is. I'm going to go ahead and mount all that inside of this little plastic case just for slickness. You actually could just glue it in place or leave it like that. It really wouldn't matter. And so I've got this glued and rubber banded to dry, and we'll mount this to the back of the solar panel, and we'll mount our circuit inside, and you'll have a beautiful tDCS that ought to run for just about ever with a solar panel. And here is the famous among the dishes, recently washed dishes shot. So here's the tDCS, solar tDCS in the house. And as you can see, it's getting about 1 milliamp of power. Even though there's no sunlight on it at all, the sun is around the back of the house here and it's in total shade. I was laughing because as I got closer, it goes up to almost full power just from the reflection from the white shirt that I'm wearing. So if you're in even modest indoor lighting, you get more than enough power to run the device. I thought that was actually pretty surprising. So outdoors in total shade, and with the sun actually setting way off in the distance in the background, more than enough. Sunlight is fantastic for this, more than enough for full power, as you can see on the meter.